Hey guys, I'm EJ and this is Kendall, and today we're going to give you guys the next superheroes that we think should have their own superhero movie. Now, we've seen the success of people like this guy, the shirt I'm wearing, Doctor Strange. We've seen the success of Deadpool in 2016. So let me send number one to you and talk about the person that we think would be great to have a superhero movie themselves.
Yeah, number one, we have NAMOR, the Submariner.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising that he hasn't had his own movie yet. I mean, when you look at Aquaman, Aquaman has kind of been a character that's been like a joke for so long. You know, he's kind of been, even the Mermaid Man character from SpongeBob has kind of been, kind of the joke, on Aquaman and how ridiculous he was. But as you see, the DC EU has tried to make Aquaman into a more serious kind of character. And I think Namor doesn't have that same, jokey kind of cachet about him. He's more of a serious character, similar to the guy we saw in Justice League, or that we're going to see in Justice League. And Namor, I mean, he is a member of the Marvel Illuminati. He is considered Marvel's first mutant, which is going to be interesting because if it's in the MCU, they can't use the term mutant. Right. Maybe they'll make him an Inhuman. We'll see. But I definitely think it should be an MCU movie. And there are some weird things with Namor because his rights are with Universal, I believe. So we'll see with Namor, but I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I think Namor would be great, Kendall, honestly. And the reason why I like the idea for Namor is, a lot of, besides maybe Ant-Man, Marvel's been pretty safe with their heroes, so to speak. We don't have any anti-heroes really in the Marvel universe. We don't have anyone that really pushes the edge. And Namor would really be that first character who could do that. Namor is someone who definitely kind of works in an area of gray. This is someone who, at the drop of a hat, has no qualms with, going to war with Earth for whatever reason. He feels the land dwellers have done something wrong to Atlantis.
He hates the surface dwellers.
Yeah. So he's not someone who's not somewhat hot-headed, somewhat complicated. So using a character like that and making him the center of a movie would be new territory for Marvel. And then visually, the idea of being underwater for the majority of a movie, I think, would be awesome. And I think that you could have some really good stuff with someone with Namor. But it brings us to number two, and this is a character that I think would be really awesome. And this is kind of an interesting one because there are two versions of this character, essentially. But we've seen them kind of introduced a little bit in the Guardians of the Galaxy, who we have right here. But we think that Nova Corps actually would be an excellent movie, or just Nova specifically. And I guess if you want to talk a little bit about why you think Nova would be great.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel. Well, Nova, to start off, Nova is a character that's obviously very similar to Green Lantern. You know, the idea of him being part of the Nova Corps, and he's a space kind of hero, and even his powers are kind of similar. He doesn't have a ring, but the way he flies around and stuff, and there are similarities to the Green Lantern character. And we had heard that the people working on Captain Marvel are trying to change up her origin because it's too similar to Green Lantern. So it makes you wonder if that's why they haven't made a Nova movie just yet. But I expect we'll eventually get Nova in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe at some point. But, I mean, he's a character. If you use the Sam Alexander Nova, you can have a younger character. He doesn't have to be a teenager like he is on Ultimate Spider-Man. He could be, a 20-something-year-old, title character. And he's a Latin character, so he gives you some sort of minority,
it gives you
diversity to your universe. And I think that works because that's something Marvel definitely, and all superhero properties are going to try and add into their movies going forward. And I think he's a good character to use.
And if you think about it, Marvel's really kind of delving into the cosmos. Marvel, they introduced obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a huge hit. And now we're coming into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And when you look at the Avengers Infinity War, these movies are going to deal very much with the cosmos, and what better way to kind of open up that universe even more, that aspect of the Marvel Universe more, than putting in someone like Nova.
Bold prediction, EJ?
Go ahead.
I think we see Nova. Whether it's Sam Alexander or Richard Rider, I think we see Nova. Sometime, either during Infinity War or even Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Wow.
I think they set him up. I think they tease him. We may not see him in costume, but I think they definitely, lay the groundwork for a Nova movie going forward.
That'd be something. I don't think that's a crazy prediction. I'm not trying to step on you, say it's not bold, but I could see that happening because it just makes too much sense, and that's why he's on our list. But our third person we think, and this is something I think would be awesome, and this goes to the DC side here, is I think a Plastic Man movie would be really great. And to me, I look at the success that a movie like Ant-Man had in being a comedy heist film. And to me, Plastic Man fits right in that mold. This is a guy who's a former criminal, someone who's really funny. I mean, he's a wisecracker. I mean, he's one of probably the early superheroes who were like that, who was just constantly wisecracking, making jokes. There weren't superheroes that came out weren't really doing that. He might have been one of the first ones. He's kind of a pioneer in that regard. And with the advancement we have in technology and the things you can do with CGI, the crazy things you can do
really fun movie
with someone like Plastic Man would be amazing. So between the comedy, between the CGI, between doing that kind of like cool heist thing, that would be awesome. And we talk about, you know, DC sometimes being too gritty. What better way to kind of lighten their outlook on their movie universe than adding someone like Plastic Man?
Yeah, I mean, Plastic Man, like you mentioned, he is a different type of DC character that we've seen in the movies. You know, we've seen a lot of gritty characters, like you mentioned, a lot of characters that are sometimes a little too dark. You can't make a dark Plastic Man. At least I hope not. I hope they don't do a dark Plastic Man.
Yeah,
but,
that'd be depressing.
So, you know, Plastic Man may be what DC is looking for right now. You know, you want them to kind of focus on their core heroes, but at the same time, adding in a Plastic Man could be the right touch. You know, even if it's not, you know, their phase 1 necessarily. Maybe it's a phase 2 movie or a character that we see. Plastic Man, I definitely think would work.
And maybe he'll come out at the same time that mysterious Shazam movie with The Rock is going to come out. We have no idea when that's going to happen.
With John Cena as Shazam.
Oh my God, imagine that.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. You can't see me. Oh God, just imagine.
Yeah, right.
John Cena was playing Shazam. Anyway, okay, that brings us to our last one, and this is another one that I pushed hard, and I want to see what you think of it. Martian Manhunter. You know, I know that's kind of a weird one because people look at Martian Manhunter and he can be a little dull, can be a little dry. But to me, I think the Martian Manhunter stories that always resonate well with me, whether it's been in comic books or even in the Justice League cartoon, has always been when they've taken him back to Mars. And you look back at his origin. And you see more of his personality and some of the pain he's gone through. And when I look at something like Martian Manhunter, I think about the success Avatar had and think that you could do very similar things in terms of CGI, in terms of taking it out, once again, going into the cosmos and taking it to a different planet. I think you could have a really fun time with something like Martian Manhunter, and then maybe the movie ends with him coming back to Earth, similar to how Captain America ended with him being in the present day, as opposed to being in World War II times.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely we see a touch of it on Supergirl with the way, you know, Martian Manhunter, his origin gets, you know, told on that show.
Yeah.
But it needs to be expanded upon. And I think seeing, you know, that character on Mars, like, I mean, an Avatar kind of CGI kind of fest would be really fun. And I think it could work. Like you said, he's a kind of a dull character, but if you have him, you know, at war with the white Martians.
There's nothing dull about that. I mean, that's a violent situation and a blood rivalry.
And, you know, he is a character I think we definitely want to see in the Justice League universe. But you can't, you know, Marvel didn't just throw in a whole bunch of characters and say, oh yeah, you know these guys, right? The Avengers. Like, they introduced...
Like when Scott Hall introduced himself in WCW, he was just like, you know who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, I guess that's Razor Ramon from WWE. You know,
like, you know, these characters have to be introduced to the general audience, and a Martian Manhunter origin would be great to service him in future Justice League movies. So I think it's a great idea, and I think all of these are really good ideas for films that, or heroes that really do deserve their own films.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening or for watching this video. And if you have any suggestions that maybe we missed in terms of people that should get their own movies, comment in the comment section and tell us if you agree or disagree with any of the selections we have. But that's it for now, and thank you guys for watching us.